Hello, welcome to Sportscaster News. I'm Lawrence Owen, your host, and today we are going to go over Black Monday news, right? Black Monday. It is the Monday after the regular season ends. Head coaches are terminated NFL wide due to terrible situations, especially, basically records going on in the NFL. As many of you know, Adam Gase for the New York Jets was terminated. Anthony Lynn for the Chargers was also terminated. And of course, Bill O'Brien for the Texans was terminated earlier in the season. But don't know if Romeo Crennel, the interim head coach, will continue. However, it has came to news that all three teams, the New York Jets, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Houston Texans, have all requested interviews to the Indianapolis Colts to interview defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus to be their next head coach. Now, some of you might realize, boy, that's an awfully quick ascension. Just 3 years ago, he was hired as the Colts defensive coordinator from the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, Matt Eberflus was just the linebackers coach for the Dallas Cowboys 3 seasons ago. And in those 3 short years, he has changed the philosophy and the mindset of the Indianapolis Colts that was once known as an offensive powerhouse in the NFL to becoming a defensive team, something that is actually just when teams think of the Indianapolis Colts nowadays, they think defense rather than just offense. With guys coming out, obviously it helps to have great players such as Darius Leonard or DeForest Buckner, Kenny Moore, Justin Houston, but it's the play that's out there. No one is ever loafing. He does great job calling defensive plays. He is the cover 2 guy. He's the guy who implements cover 2 better than any other defensive-minded coach in the NFL right now. Is he the best defensive coach in the NFL? Maybe not. But when it comes to implementing a safety net defense, Matt Eberflus is one of the best. You come to think of it, Indianapolis Colts are one of the least blitzing teams in the NFL. They get pressure on a quarterback, the 4th best in the NFL. But they only send their front 4 most of the time. They are the 3rd least blitzing team in the NFL. So he's able to get pressure on quarterbacks very often without having to send all those extra people, so he can leave a blanket out there to prevent big, deep passes. And what team doesn't want to see that? The Jets have got talent on that defense. The Texans, the Chargers, they have talent on their defenses, but they have had incredibly down years on the defensive side of the ball. So, hey, you know what? Going after a guy like Matt Eberflus for the Indianapolis Colts, that's a heck of a thought process, and it will hurt the Indianapolis Colts overall because Matt Eberflus was not Frank Reich's choice. No. He was a certain offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots who accepted the job as head coach for the Indianapolis Colts and then backed out. But before he backed out, he had hired an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator for the Colts and then backed out when Frank Reich was hired. Frank Reich said, you know what? I like these guys. I'm going to dig into them. He dug into them. He realized what they stood for and kept those coaching right there on the team. And they have absolutely, especially Matt Eberflus has definitely stepped up and shown a lot. You're still here? Awesome. Thanks for watching this stream. Please, if you have a moment of your time, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you're notified next time I go live. And if you got a few extra seconds, hit that description down there below the video and check out all the places that you can follow me, whether it be Sportscaster here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and there's a couple places where you can help donate to my channel. That way I can continue to bring all this content to you. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, it's not just the Jets, the Chargers, and the Texans interested in Indianapolis Colts personnel. If we actually go over and look at the Carolina Panthers, they have requested the Colts GM assistant, Ed Dodds, for their GM job. Now, as you may know, Chris Ballard is the GM for the Indianapolis Colts, but Ed Dodds is the assistant GM. So it is a move up for Ed Dodds. He has actually turned down job requests before because he didn't like the position that he was going in, and he liked where he was at currently. Now, over time, who knows if Ed Dodds has changed his mind. He may end up leaving. That would be a huge hit for the Indianapolis Colts, being that Ed Dodds is one of those guys who is, oh my goodness, he goes out and he looks for talent. He is a talent evaluator. And if you look at the Indianapolis Colts and how much young talent they've gotten, it's amazing. Amazing. I mean, think about this. Dodds is credited with talking Chris Ballard into getting Kenny Moore II, that nickel cornerback for the Indianapolis Colts, who is currently, I believe, the highest paid nickel corner in the NFL, and Danico Autry, plus a lot of those draft picks that have just so came up over the last few years and just exploded. Now, Ed Dodds is not the only guy to go along with Matt Eberflus that is in for a job promotion. The Atlanta Falcons have put in a request for Colts college scouting director Morocco Brown for their GM job as well. And Brown, again, joined the Colts in 2017, in which beforehand he worked for the Cleveland Browns, the Washington football team, and the Chicago Bears as just basically director of player personnel. But since being with the Colts, he has absolutely been a stud in looking for talent across the NFL and in the college mostly. Again, the Colts have done a great job in their drafting, and the Atlanta Falcons have not been so lucky. So this could be a great signing for them. Now, if all three of these guys took positions elsewhere, that would be a massive hit for the Indianapolis Colts. And I would hate to see it. I would be very happy for Matt Eberflus and Ed Dodds and Mr. Brown. But, my goodness, how would that in turn affect the Indianapolis Colts? Would the Colts defense start to suffer? Who would take Matt Eberflus's place as a defensive coordinator? Would he already be on the team? Or would they hire him, someone else from outside? When it came to college scouting and talent scouting across the NFL, who is going to take over? Obviously, Chris Ballard has got a very good eye, but Ed Dodds was in his ear 24/7 giving him advice. And Morocco Brown, he's the guy that sent out all the scouts to different colleges saying, go look at this guy, and this guy. They will be, all three of them, very important player personnel losses for the Indianapolis Colts. And we've seen what happens when a team loses that defensive edge or loses that scouting edge. Go look at the Seattle Seahawks. They had the Legion of Boom, right? Then they lost that edge in their scouting department, and they could not replace these great players that were part of their team as they were losing them due to contract negotiations, just not able to pay for them. So now the Colts could be in a very similar situation. I personally hope not, but who knows? Congratulations. I hope all of you get your jobs because this would be a great thing for you in your personal careers. However, as a Colts fan, I am personally one of those guys that hope that you choose to stay and continue the great work you have done in the Indianapolis and Indiana areas. I want to thank you for watching this edition of Sportscaster News with me, Lawrence Owen, talking about multiple positions, head coaching jobs that the Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus has been requested to be interviewed for, plus Ed Dodds and Morocco Brown for the Colts, looking for GM positions throughout the NFL. And until next time, as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen, and I want you to have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.